Welcome back to our F1 2020 Ferrari Return to Glory career mode, and today we go racing then for the final time this season with the Brazilian Grand Prix. Last time out we actually had a very strong result, finishing up in second place. Just had some very good pace on the day for some reason, and we managed to get a very strong result then. As we now fast forward time then to the weekend, and we'll see then what the season finale has in store. Obviously there's a championship battle to decide between Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton, and it really looks like whoever comes out on top in the race is going to win the World Championship there. That could also well be the case then in this battle for third, because it's only 2 points between me and Verstappen there then, after our good result last time out, and Albon is still just about in it then, 16 points behind. So still some things to decide, with 20 points behind Red Bull in the Constructors, so they may be just out of reach. As we're looking now then at upgrades then and stuff that we're having to adapt for next season, we're nearly done now. We've just got the durability upgrades there to do, and now we've also had another supplier upgrade come through then on the engine side, so we've once again had a bit of a boost without me doing anything there, and we are now back ahead of McLaren, so I guess they're not getting much support from Renault there, but we're still pretty far down there in terms of our engine. But as you can see, we have made another step up then. Once again we're closing back up to Racing Point and Red Bull, but it's still saying that we have the fourth best car then, as we see that Alfa Romeo and Haas are closing on the midfield as well then at this late stage in the season. The weather for this weekend is looking like it's going to be dry throughout then, or at least for the important parts of the weekend at least, so it's not looking like rain's going to play a part. What could play a part though is our control electronics then is at 70%, and that's our newest one that we've got, so we're just going to have to put in one of the old ones in practice and just hope that that third control electronics then can actually survive doing just qualifying in the race there, as we earn some more resource points there. So I think we'll use those then to upgrade then these final two, well, adapt these final two upgrades then that we've got on the car, and then we'll be done then in terms of getting ready for next season's regulations. Obviously next season we're upgrading everything. Of course the engine ban was just for this season, so we'll finally start work then on finally sorting out our engine troubles next season, and yeah, can't come soon enough as we head now then into Q1 for this final qualifying then of the 2020 season. And as you can see then, our initial time wasn't too great then, we were only 12th, so I had to go out again then on the same set of tyres and hope that I went a bit quicker. As we come to the line now then, and we do go a bit faster, then we've improved to a 107.1. That puts us 10th in the end then, just about a tenth and a half shy there of our teammate, and yeah, we were comfortably through in the end in 10th position, with Grosjean then out in 16th. Russell there managing to out qualify the two Alfa Romeos, and then it was Latifi who is last then in that session. Once again on to Q2 now, and we're out then on the soft tyres this time, and we actually have a big slide out of turn 4, which is certainly not ideal there. As I was going to say, I didn't bother wasting some of the mediums because I obviously didn't think that they'd be quick enough for us to go through there, and well, our lap time isn't too bad there, so a little bit shy of what we did in Q1 there, but obviously we made that mistake and we were down in 8th position, so really I did have to go back out here then just to make sure that we did get through to Q3 here. We get much improved then, having got that corner nice and tidy this time, and then running the rest of the lap we have found some time. We're dropping down the order though out of the top 10, but really we just got to drive flat out to the line now, so I'd say we're looking pretty good here to put ourselves back out then and get into Q3 to the line. Then we do indeed go through then, and another strong Q2 for us there then, in 5th place with Leclerc down in 8th, but both of us getting through, which is the important thing there. So Norris is out then, Ocon is out, Magnussen 14th, and a big surprise there, Stroll down in 15th, Perez only just scraping through, so Racing Point then just with no pace here, which is a bit surprising because they do have what should be the 3rd best car, so a bit surprising that they're struggling so much here. But then as you heard there, we were getting a radio message saying that it was going to rain soon, so I was going to go out on an old set first, like do 2 runs, go out on the older set and then save my brand new set for at the end of the session, but yeah, we're just going out on the new set now then, as I was slowing down here to let both Hamilton and Ricciardo through, and Ricciardo just drove into me there and damaged his front wing, so not quite sure what he was doing there, but thankfully he didn't damage our car then, it just seemed to damage his own front wing there, thankfully. We're now then on our flying lap, which may well be the only one that we get a chance to do here then, because it is looking quite cloudy. I mean, there wasn't any rain forecast, but I guess the rain is on the way then, right at the end of this Q3 session, so we just have to hope then what we've done here is going to be good enough to get us a good grid position, as we set then a 107 flat that time then, so not quite as good as what we did in Q2. Right, does put us in at the bottom of the pile in terms of those who have set a time there. We go back out then straight away, but the rain has already started to come down now then, so we'll just have to hope that it isn't too bad here and we actually can set a lap here, but I have to say it is looking like it's already starting to come down quite a bit here. The only person out on track at the moment is Ricciardo then, who's gone back out after breaking his front wing before. We're just sliding about so much through his first few corners, and in fact through turn 3 we've lost it completely, and in fact we've made the barrier there. So yeah, even if we could have set a lap, well, we can't now because we're in the barriers, and yeah, there's absolutely no grip then. Turn 3 normally flat out, but we just had no grip at all there, straight into the barriers, and that was our session over then. But I mean, we weren't improving there anyway, but so don't want to end it in the barriers. We're 9th on the grid then, provisionally, with Ricciardo then only managing to, well, set a 109 there then in those conditions. Bottas then crucially took pole with Verstappen in between him and Lewis Hamilton, so it just keeps on, you know, being advantage to Bottas there then in this championship fight. Our teammate Leclerc then back on form this weekend, 4th place ahead of Alexander Albon, so yeah, he's back on form then. It's almost like we swapped cars almost in Mexico, but it seems that we swapped back around now then for this weekend, as we're back now then in the motorhome, and we'll see then what we can do in the race. Hopefully we can do a bit better, because our quali form, well, our quali pace just seemed to disappear a bit again then. We were sort of under pressure there, and yeah, we sort of cracked a bit there. We could have probably gone a bit faster, and then obviously the rain came down and we pushed too hard at the end there as well. But still, it should be a good race then, a championship to be decided. Let's head into the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Formula One returns to Sao Paulo once again, with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Brazilian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his 3rd championship here in 2012, and in 2016, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7 mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if of course the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. And so, for one final time this season, Anthony Davidson joins me in the commentary box.
Well, the winter break is looming once again. No doubt many of those teams already have their eyes firmly on next season. But there's still work to be done here. Still championship positions to decide, which can make a big difference to the prize money. So no one's going to be taking their foot off the throttle just yet.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Albon, Sainz, the Scientist, and Leclerc. They've taken a grid penalty. Ricciardo, Verstappen, Stroll, and Pierre Gasly. Russell, Raikkonen, Sergio Perez, and Giovinazzi. Latifi, Norris, Esteban Ocon, and Kevin Magnussen. Grosjean and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So grid penalties have completely shaken up the order here then. We're going to be 5th on the grid, so a lot higher than I was expecting today. And this team have given us then a 1 stop, which I wasn't actually expecting here. I was thinking that tyre wear might be quite higher and they might think that the 2 stop is quicker, but no, they're just going to, well, stop him to give us then 1 stop and put us on to hards relatively early in the race then, and then having a long final stint to the end of the race there. So we'll see what we can do. We've already moved up a lot more places than I was expecting then. 5th on the grid. I mean, our teammate Leclerc had a 5 place grid penalty and still ended up 6th on the grid, so that just goes to show just how many penalties there were to dish out. Obviously it helped Lewis Hamilton there then. He was third, but now he's going to be alongside his teammate then for the start. And we've got the lights coming on now. We're away then for the final time this season, and we get a pretty good launch compared to Sainz, and indeed Hamilton there, both of them quite slow off the dirtier side of the track there. We're around the outside of Sainz, and that becomes the inside line for turn 2. Sainz tries to hang on in there, but he has to yield, and in fact Ricciardo's gone through as well. Albon has overtaken Hamilton there up in front of us as well, and Ricciardo is looking like he's really up for it today then. He's on the attack of us towards turn 4, but we just about managed to hang on, it looks like, then round the outside, and we managed to maintain our position then. We're up to 4th then, so up 1 place from where we started, and we'll hope to maintain it then. But Ricciardo is looking very quick then. This engine just isn't giving us the power then at this stage. We see then the replay of the start, and just a lot of wheel spin there for Hamilton on it off the front row. Bottas went to cover him and just left him nowhere to go there, and that allowed Albon to just sweep around the outside. We were side by side here with Sainz, who tried to hang on in there, but as I said, just hung in there too long, and that allowed Ricciardo to take that place as well there. And we now resume then on lap 3, where Hamilton is still struggling to pass Albon here then, and this is crucial because for a 3rd race in a row Bottas is just running off at the front. Now of course, if Bottas wins this race, he is world champion. If Hamilton can win the race, he's world champion. Well, yeah, he will be, and in fact that is why then he is straight on the attack there of Albon. He had DRS there then, and he put it to good use, and now then we'll see if he can go after his teammate and see if they will have a battle then for the world title. We're going to use this opportunity as well then to also pounce on Albon here then. He goes defensive, so we'll run it around the outside into turn 4, and we have moved ourselves up as well then. It looks like we're still side by side there around turn 5. We have the inside line for turn 6 though, so we should be able to take this one now then up the inside, and through we go then, and we'll see if we can interfere then with this Mercedes scrap as we did in Mexico. We'll see if we have any kind of race pace like we did back in that race. The quali pace certainly wasn't there, but it's looking like once again our race pace may just about be there. But it may just be that Hamilton just is once again struggling a bit, as yeah, he's certainly not closing that gap down at the moment, but we're still sticking pretty close to him. Looked like Albon was actually a bit slow here as well then, because he had a bit of a queue of cars behind him there, so I was thinking that maybe there were other cars that would potentially had some pace here to actually challenge, such as Ricciardo, who looked very quick off the start. I mean, our teammate is in there as well, and Verstappen of course with that grid penalty, so felt like there was a lot of cars that could have potentially challenged here, but it seemed that Albon was backing them all up a bit, and the Mercedes didn't even seem particularly quick out front either here. Certainly Bottas didn't at this point. He did have that initial good lead, but now me and Hamilton were starting to reel him back in. My problem was that just this engine. I've got DRS here and I'm barely gaining at all. I was using overtake there to actually reel him in a bit, but you saw down the pit straight I was hardly gaining anything despite having a DRS there, so that was just really the problem for me here. I had to close right up to the back of him here if I was going to have any chance of actually getting a move done, and we were quite close this time then. I was also having to be careful with overtake as well here because I was running quite low on that, so I was having to time it just right with that. As you can see, we're not going to be close enough to actually get the move done into turn 1, so we'll have to maybe do what we did in Mexico here and just use that first straight to sort of set it up a bit, and then the second straight to actually complete the move. That's what we'll try and do here then. We've got a good run this time. Hamilton's going defensive. We'll go to the outside line then, the racing line, round the outside, and it looks like for the second race in a row we have overtaken the reigning world champion Lewis Hamilton and moved ourselves up into second place. It was absolutely crucial today then, with obviously the result of this race deciding the world title. You see then Hamilton went defensive, but we just had so much more speed running outside there that time. We were close enough to actually get a good slipstream. It was enough that time then to get the place. I was expecting to be under attack here then, but Hamilton actually goes for an early pit stop there, so that is very interesting. That's a couple laps earlier than what we're doing, so that may well be a 2-stop range there then. We'll have to wait and see. But yep, Hamilton's in, and Bottas does not do the same on the next lap, so it's starting to look like Mercedes may well have split the strategies here, which adds another element then to this fight between them. Who has got it right then? That's going to be the question. Both me and Bottas are going to pit then on the same lap here, lap 13. So there won't be any chance of any kind of undercut like there was in Mexico. But still, it's looking like we've got some good pace here then compared to Mercedes once again, as we come out then just avoided Ricciardo there as he came in, and looked like we actually did lose a bit of time there, so maybe Mercedes was a little bit quicker there, or maybe we were just a bit slow into the pits. But crucially for Hamilton then, he has got the jump then, pitting a few laps earlier, and he is indeed on the soft tyres, so that confirms he's on a 2-stop then, and he has crucially got himself ahead of Bottas. So he just got to absolutely just charge as far away up the field then as he can now then, and make this 2-stop work. That's just absolutely crucial now then. He's got to just fly through the field, and yeah, especially now then, by the looks of things, everyone else is on the same strategy as us, going over to hard tyres. So yeah, we saw Albon there, Leclerc was in. Stroll actually does something a bit different then. He actually managed to extend that stint then, so his tyre wear was quite good, and he's on medium, so it'll be interesting to see what his pace is like and where exactly he comes out here then. But Hamilton's doing exactly what he needs to do here then. He's just building up that gap to Bottas. Obviously he needs to build himself as much of a gap as possible so that he has sort of less to do once he comes in for his second stop, and he won't have as much of a gap to close back down then after his second stop, when he'll presumably be on mediums then. We see then our engine is still looking pretty good then to last us the distance. Obviously the control electronics are wearing out, so that's going to make everything else wear faster, but it's the last race, so it doesn't matter too much as long as we get through these final few laps. Hamilton does now pit then on lap 23, and well, we'll see if that was enough then. Has he managed to build up enough of a gap to avoid, well, what is a big train there actually with Albon, well, a few seconds out of it, but it's Leclerc who's got the bigger train behind him, and it looks like in fact Hamilton has not managed to get out in front of them, and in fact he's right in the middle of it then. He's down in about 7th place there by the looks of things, and it looks like, unless Bottas has some kind of issue now, like that was the wrong thing to do there for Hamilton, and that has just made it a lot harder for him to potentially be world champion this season. He ideally would have wanted to be in one of those gaps between either behind me or behind Albon, and he could have brought the gap down quite comfortably with some clear air, but that doesn't look like it will be possible now then, as we were actually closing in on Bottas once again, and as we did during the first stint. And I was thinking here that, you know, Bottas, he's got everything to lose here then by fighting us, so if we can really close up the gap to him, then he's certainly not going to fight this one, because, you know, he just needs to be ahead of Hamilton really. And yeah, so I was thinking, you know, if we could just close a bit more here, we may well have a chance. Well, it's certainly looking like it's Bottas now then, because we just had a message there from engineer saying that Hamilton has an issue here, so it's looking like surely now there's no chance he's going to be able to close that gap down. And indeed he had dropped back nearly 14 seconds behind us, and just to add insult to injury, Bottas then, just a few miles away from winning the World Championship, has set a fastest lap there then out in front. He's built up the gap to us then to nearly 3 seconds, and he is on course now then to win the World Championship here. This is his final lap then. It's the final lap of the season, and well, I don't think many people would have expected Bottas to be winning the World Championship this season. I don't think many people would have expected it even during the season, maybe around about halfway through, because Hamilton was just absolutely dominant earlier in the season. Of course, Bottas had that engine problem as well in, I think, the Netherlands, and then he got back into it briefly when Hamilton had an issue in Canada, but then Bottas had another issue in Sochi, and it looked like surely it was over for him again, but then Hamilton's just had a dismal end to the season here. Then the incident in Austin, he's had not enough pace either here or in Mexico, and yeah, it's gone back towards Bottas then, and he's just dominated these final few rounds. He takes another win and the World Championship, and we finish in second.
That's it, what a season. Great work this year, really great work. It's been hard at times, but we've come through.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. we have a new World Drivers' Champion. Victory today then, but bittersweet emotions I'm sure, as the championship slips through their fingers. Even so, what a fantastic final race of the season this was. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
There are the final results then. Bottas wins the championship and he wins it in style with pole position, the win and the fastest lap there. So an absolutely dominant drive from him once again. We were second. We've had just a really unexpected good end to the season here. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just, other cars having engine issues and we took that, tactical grid penalty back in Spa. I don't know if that helped at all, but we just seem to have had some good pace these last couple of races, and we've had 2 podiums to round out the season. Albon there was in 3rd, Hamilton only 5th in the end. Our teammate was 6th, and Verstappen has also had a pretty bad run to end the season, to be fair, down in 9th place there. All 20 drivers finished this final race of the season, and there's confirmation then of the driver standings. Bottas winning by 21 points in the end, which really is quite a surprise that it was that much in the end, when you consider how much he had to actually recover. We finished 3rd then in our debut season. I think just because we managed to finish every race. We haven't scored points in every race, but overall then we've managed to actually make a lot of the team strategies work for us, to be fair, and we've had some good results. Obviously they got it completely right for us in Japan, and gave us a victory there. So very happy with that then. Ricciardo had a good result today, and that moved him back up into the top 10. We were just 11 points shy then at Red Bull in the end as well, so we really gave him a good run there at the end, but just not quite enough. Mercedes were comfortable champions. Racing Point were relatively comfortable there in 4th, Renault in 5th, McLaren in 6th, and it was just the Williams team then who didn't score points.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. You were cutting your way through the field during the race. You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled. There are rumours that you're looking for a contract with another team. Is there any truth to that? Appreciate your time.
We gained some more driver acclaim then, and that will get us to level 11 then at the end of the season, and hopefully that will put us in a bit of a better position then in terms of contract negotiations, which of course are now coming up because it's the end of the season. So we're going to do now this then as well to round up the season and make sure that we are still here next season. I was thinking here that maybe we could go for the high risk one, maybe, because we've had a pretty good end to the season there. We took a win, we took 2 podiums on top of that, and we finished 3rd in the championship. So I was thinking, they may well want to hang on to us here, and they'll be willing to give us a bit of a higher salary there. But they didn't want to do that, so we're just going to have to go back then the next day and go for one of the lower options then. I think we did medium last time, and that is what we'll try again this time then, so that should hopefully and it is indeed then, it is what they're happy with then, and we sign on then. So good news, there is a season 2 of this, so in case you're wondering, we are going to carry on the next season of course, and so that's confirmed, and we will now then spend some of this perk fund then that we've now got then from that new contract. The only thing we can actually afford though is either media coaching or development feedback, so we will do that then because that resource point game will certainly be helpful for us. I was going to try and do one last aero upgrade then before we round out the season, but I was 45 points short then after waiting for the weekly resources to come in, so that is annoying there. So we're not going to quite be able to do that then before the season's up, sadly, but yeah, we certainly got closer in the end. But with that being said, I think what we need to do now then is just round up the season.
Nice job this season. You've been performing well, and that's putting us in a strong negotiating position contract-wise. Plus, my 10%'s getting more valuable. So enjoy your break, and keep up the good work next year.
This is how me and Charles compared to each other then. We had 1 win to his none. Neither of us had any pole positions, and we beat him in the championship. But I certainly don't think that tells this whole story of this season, because I'm pretty sure he outqualified us something like 14-2, and I would guess that he outraced us more than we did him, but I guess we just had more of the higher point finishes, and he had some bad luck along the way as well. So I don't think that fully told the whole story there, but that is it then for this first season. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you enjoyed this episode as well. If you did, I really appreciate a like on the video, and I'll see you next time then, where we start season 2.